Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, and thanks for joining me. Melanie here from Mel's Inky Fingers. I missed being with you last week. So today we are going to jump into fall. If you are here in Northwest Ohio, you know that fall has finally come with all of our beautiful color, and I hope you are also enjoying changes coming with the fall season. So hello, when you jump on, say hello, let me know you're here. I'm just going to make sure that I am in the right place and that everyone can hear me okay. So I hope you had a great week. And it looks like everything is good. So hello, happy Friday and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to create with this beautiful autumn leaves bundle. And I'm going to show you kind of a couple of fun ways to use it. So we're going to make a card together featuring one of the beautiful new specialty papers on the online exclusive offering in my online store. And then I'm going to show you a fun way to use your stamps to create all kinds of projects. So hello, Polly. Hi, Anne. Thank you so much for jumping on today. Today is going to be a little different from how I normally do my lives. So Polly is enjoying sunny North Carolina. How nice. We are actually unseasonably warm this week in Northwest Ohio. It's been in the 70s. It's absolutely gorgeous outside. I'm looking out my window to a yard full of beautiful golden orange trees that are beautiful to look at, and the leaves are starting to fall though. So that means tons of leaf pickup in my yard. We have a huge yard with massive trees. But 'tis the season, right? So we're enjoying the nice warm weather as long as we can. And I have a feeling it won't last nearly as long as yours will, Polly. So today we are going to make some fall projects though, using this beautiful bundle. I have enjoyed creating some other projects with it, and I will show you a couple of sneak peeks of some of the other fall projects I've created with one of the other bundles. So, and Anne is enjoying the sun too, except it's cold. Ooh, 20, burr. I'm not ready for that, but it's coming. It is coming. So just a couple of announcements before we get started. I just want to remind everybody that the 35 or 35 promotion to join our stamping community is coming to an end at the end of the month. This is an incredible deal. I have a whole blog post about this. Please visit my blog and check out the details. But just to give you the nuts and bolts, Stampin' Up! Is celebrating 35 years this month, which is incredible. And they've been doing all kinds of fun things to celebrate. And now what they're doing this month to help welcome you into our stamping community is they are offering a special on the Stampin' Up! Starter Kit. So you get to choose your special. You can choose to get 35% off the normal cost of the starter kit of $99. So it's only $64. And you get to pick $125 of anything you would like, or you get to add 35% more product to the normal starter kit for the regular price. So instead of getting $125 of whatever you would like, you get to pick $168.75 for the $99. It's an incredible deal. It also includes a paper pumpkin kit. They ship it to you free. So you literally will pay $64 plus tax. And you get early exclusives, tons of inspiration, you'll meet new friends, so much fun, and the perks of being a part of my team and our national team, we just have a lot of fun. So if this interests you, please reach out to me. You can go to my blog at melsinkyfingers.com and click on Join the Fun, and all the details will be there. Hi, Julie. Welcome, and thanks for joining. But I do have to tell you that in addition to the 35 or 35 special, Stampin' Up! Is gifting all new members of our community this month a free registration to our Stampin' Up! Demonstrator event, which will be taking place on November 11th. It is an at-home event this year, so there's no travel required. It's super fun. It is a day packed with creative ideas, behind the scenes peeks, chit-chatting with other demonstrators. We just have a really fun time. And if you can't make it that day, it is recorded and available for you to come back and visit so that you can get all the benefits on a time frame that works for you. They are gifting this to you. And as a perk, they are letting us, giving us early access to an adorable suite of products that will be coming later in the Stampin' Up! Year. And I featured that in my last live. It is called Be Mine. It is so adorable. Please go check it out. All right, so let's jump into today's project. So we are going to make a couple of projects today. We're going to make one together, but then I'm going to show you a fun technique for using your supplies. And then together we are going to create a card. It's a little scary. I have not created this card yet. We're going to create it together. So we'll see how that goes, okay? But we're going to use this beautiful Autumn Leaves bundle out of the current holiday catalog. So it's out of our green catalog that's from September to December. The Autumn Leaves bundle is part of a product suite, and it is featured on page 44. So here is how it looks like in the catalog, but the suite is featured here. It's the beautiful paper that is again sold out for I don't know how many times it has sold out now. It will be coming back in stock on around October 30th. But it's getting late enough in the season now that I have to worry that it's going to become unavailable pretty soon. But here's our bundle and the beautiful coordinating pieces that go with it, and some of the project ideas featured here in the catalog. It's really a pretty bundle. So here's the project we're going to make. I switched up the paper. So as you know, Stampin' Up! Has online exclusives that you won't see in any publication. You will only see those items in my online store. And they're featured while supplies last oftentimes. And so if you see something you love, you might want to grab it. But this paper is beautiful. It's been there now for a month or so. It's called tartan foil. It has such a beautiful feel and a pretty sheen. So let me pull my supplies up here and show you what is in this paper pack. So this collection comes with 3 different colors, and each color is double-sided and has 2 different prints. So this is the paper. It's absolutely beautiful. It's copper clay, pebbled path, and I think that's soft, let me double check. Lost Lagoon. Okay, so Lost Lagoon, pebbled path, and copper clay. I don't know if you can see the sheen, and when you flip it over, it's almost like, not really metallic-y, but it's like frosty. And I don't know if you can see how beautiful that is, but isn't this pretty? So I've created this project, and I wanted it to just be simple and feature the beauty of the stamps and dies using this tartan foil paper. So this one features the copper clay, and it's kind of monochromatic, but I'm going to mix it up as we recreate this together and mix and match some colors. So let's make this project. So you are going to want a card base, and I cut my card base 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, so that it's a top fold card, and this is basic white. And then I have cut a 3 3/4 inch layer of copper clay paper, and I think with this one I'm going to mix it with the Lost Lagoon, and I'm going to put these together, and I think I'm going to put this one layered. So this one I just took 2 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch layers and offset them. And if you don't really like that offset look, you can layer it. So this is 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to trim this down by 1/8 and I think create a layer like that. Then you will want a scrap of white for stamping and a piece of contrasting color for the stem on the leaf. See that beautiful stem? So on this card, I die cut that from this copper clay patterned tartan foil paper and adhered it in place. I think I forgot to pull off. Yep, there's a little piece here that didn't have my backing pulled off. And then I put a piece of adhesive sheet behind there. I'm going to show you how to use those. They make adhering thin pieces like that really fun. And I'm going to show you this technique using the ribbon as well. So let's start creating this project. So I'm going to adhere these two layers together, and instead of offsetting them this time, I'm going to layer them so that you can decide which one you like better. So I'm just trimming 1/8 of an inch off my sides so that it layers nicely on here like this. So let's put those together. Hi, Chris. It's fun to have you joining. All right. So happy Friday to everyone. I hope you had a really great week and that you're looking forward to some fun this weekend. We have lots of hockey this weekend. So we are traveling and at home this weekend. So it's going to be a busy weekend, and I have lots of family here in town. So I'm really enjoying looking forward to the weekend. So what do you have going? Oh, thanks, Chris. What do you have going this weekend? Tell me what you are all doing this weekend for fun. So I'm just putting my dimensionals on the back of this so that I can layer it on my card. And this tartan foil paper is just so pretty. You see how that looks? You can see that beautiful sheen. All right, so now let's go into stamping. So now let's start by stamping our leaf focal point. So we have our big leaf here. I have it mounted, so you can see the stamp set has a combination of leaves, and then the veining is separate with a really nice variety of beautiful fonts, and you can build your sentiments a little bit here with these small fonts. I love little tiny fonts like this. I love the way they look on a card. They're there, but they don't take up a lot of space, and I really like that. So let's stamp our leaf, and I'm going to stamp this in copper clay. Hi, Melissa, welcome. So remember, whenever you have a stamp that has fine detail on it like this, you want to make sure that your ink pad does not have too much ink on it. So if you have a fresh ink pad, and these are pretty fresh, so I'm just going to assume it's going to be too inky. I'm just going to take the back corner of my ink pad and slide that ink out of the way so that when I ink up my stamp, it allows that beautiful detail to come through. So look how beautiful that stamp is. It gives just a tiny bit of color inside so that when you add your veining die cuts or your stamping for the veins, it doesn't get lost in the detail of the stamp. So that's really pretty. And then I'm going to die cut that with the coordinating leaves. So you have open dies and accent dies. The veining can be stamped or die cut. And then you have these beautiful pierced detailing dies for adding detail or cutting labels that fit the sentiments in the set. This is a really beautiful set. All right, so let's die cut this leaf. I'm just going to set that on my die cutting machine because I'm going to also at the same time cut some veining. So I wanted to show you how to use these adhesive sheets. Now these are shown in the annual catalog. I should have flagged this page so that I could show you. Let me pull that up for you so you can see where these are. So the adhesives are all on page 138 of the annual catalog. So I'm in my annual catalog. Here's all of the adhesives, and here's the adhesive sheets. They can be easy to miss. They're called adhesive sheets. You get 12 6x12 pieces of adhesive. They're $11.50, and you will get a lot of die cuts out of one pack. But let me show you how these work. So you have scored release papers that you can pull off, and what it leaves is a sheet of really thin adhesive. And you can put this down on cardstock, designer series paper, anything you want to stick. You just pull that release paper off and then stick it down in place to whatever you want to die cut with. Okay? So now you use this die cut piece just like anything else that you might die cut with. And when you're done, what you've actually created is like a sticker. So let me show you how that works. So I'm going to take my die for the veining of my large leaf, and I'm going to die cut this along with my big leaf. So let me do that. I have my big leaf over here, already in my die cutting machine that I have already stamped. Okay, so here are my pieces. So here's my leaf, and I'm going to do my sentiment up here, so I'll save that. And now here is the veining. So let me use my take your pick tool and get that out. Isn't that cool? So look at that veining piece. So now instead of worrying about how I'm going to adhere this in place on my leaf, I can just peel the backing off, and the adhesive is going to stick in place from the adhesive sheet. Okay? And I don't really want my stem to be stuck down quite yet, so I'm going to just snip this here and pull all this off. So now there's adhesive on the back of this, and I don't have to worry about trying to put Tombow or some other type of adhesive on the back of that and not make a mess. So now I'm just going to push this down in place on my leaf, and now it's stuck. It's like a sticker. It does not leave sticky on the plates, Chris, unless when you put it on your back, if you've, allowed that adhesive sheet to stick out beyond your cardstock or your designer series paper, then it would. So you want to make sure that it's no bigger than what you're die cutting out of. So this is a 3" by 3" piece of cardstock. So you would want your adhesive backing to be no bigger than 3" by 3". So does that make sense? Hopefully that helps. And then what you get is this, isn't that easy? And you don't have any sticky mess on the front of your card. It just works so beautifully. And I have left a little piece on the stem so that when I'm working and building my card, this isn't going to get stuck and tear off. But once you put it on your card front, if you wanted to take that off and use it to help stick down your leaf, you could. Oh yes, take those out and use them. They are a game changer. You will love them. I keep mine right over by my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine so that they're always handy when I want to use them. All right, so now let's put this down on our card now that we've created our leafy focal point. So I'm going to put a couple of dimensionals on the back of this and put it down on my card front. And we're bringing in a second color here by bringing in our Lost Lagoon. So I'm going to just put this up there like that at an angle. All right. All right. So now let's bring our white cardstock back in and stamp our sentiment. So we have a lot of different options here for our sentiment, and these are a little bit bigger. And this has I'm thankful. You can do I'm thankful for all you do. I'm thankful today and every day. I'm thankful to have you as a friend. But I wanted to not use this on the front, but put it on the inside. So I want to create a little sentiment that says, for all you do, friend. So let me show you how I did that. I'm just creating my own little sentiment here. So I have the For All You Do stamp, and I'm going to stamp that in copper clay. For all you do. And then I have, on this one, I have the To Have You as a Friend, but I am only going to ink up friend. So I like to work off the end of my pad that has just this tiny little bit of the case, and I just ink up the word friend and make sure it's all inked, and then I didn't get any of the rest of the words, and then I just line it right up, and hopefully I can do this. I'm not over, let me slide it so that I can line it up when I'm not over the paper. It's hard to line it up. But you see how I just now created my own sentiment by using the sentiments that are already in the set. Hi, Wendy. Welcome and thanks for joining. Now, this die set has this really cool little die. It's easy to miss right here. Isn't that fun? It's a cute little banner, and it fits right over these tiny little words. And look it, I've created a new sentiment and it still fits in there. Isn't that fun? So let me die cut this. And then we're going to add that to the card front. Here we go. And I just realized I forgot to do something on my card that I wanted to do. So I'm going to, I don't know if I can, I guess I'll show you on a separate. Oh, but it's going to change how the card looks. All right, I'm going to deconstruct this. Let's see if I can deconstruct this without ruining all the parts and pieces. Okay, so now we know that dimensionals come off the tartan foil paper pretty easily. But I bet what I can't do so easily is pull this off. Maybe. We'll see. Let's see. I wanted to run this tartan foil through my Falling Leaves embossing folder to put leaves in the background, and I forgot to do that. And I don't have another piece of tartan foil paper. Or do I? Do I? I thought I had the whole pack here. Ah, I do. Okay, so I'm not going to deconstruct this. I'm just going to cut another piece. Okay, let's put that back on. So this is how I save cards sometimes. So sometimes if I forget to do a step, I just redo it and glue it over the top. So that's what I'm going to do. So I cut this down a little bit in order to layer and not have it offset. So I'm just going to cut myself another layer, 4 7/8 by, and I'm just doing it a hair bigger because I'm going to emboss it and I want to make sure it covers up what I already have there. So what I wanted to show you is this paper is really pretty, but if you want to add some subtle detail to your project, you can take it and emboss it. So I have my Leaf Fall 3D embossing folder, and I'm going to put this paper in there, and I'm going to emboss some leaves on it so that it adds just a nice little touch to my card. So I can decide where I want the leaves, and I think I kind of want them up like that. So now I'm going to run this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and then I'm just going to glue it right on top of the piece that I already have on there because I forgot this step. Do you ever forget to do something on a card and then you're like, wait, in my head, I had already done that. So now I can just glue this right over the top. See that? And I'm going to shave just a tad bit more off because I didn't make it quite small enough. So let's see. Yep, that works. All right. So you could choose to use the white side and have the debossed images show, or the colored side where it's raised. Now it'll look a little more fall-like. Sorry about that. Do I like that or do I like that? Let's do this. So I'll just glue it right over the top, and now look at, you wouldn't even know that I forgot that step, would you? So that's how except that I glued this layer down wrong. So that's how I sometimes save cards if I make a mistake. Isn't it beautiful embossed, Wendy? I love the shimmery sheen to this paper so much. And I think it's just really elegant. And when you emboss it, it just adds another layer of complexity to it that you're right. It's just absolutely gorgeous. So let's put this back together. Now you can see that I make mistakes just as often as everyone else does. Oh. And a fun way of correcting it. So again, here we go. There's that beautiful paper embossed. It's so, so pretty. So now let's put our leaf back on. And you see the difference that makes? Just adding that subtle background layer. It just makes such a difference, right? Okay, so now back to scheduled programming. So we have our little sentiment here that we can add to our card front. So let's glue this in place. I'll add a little Tombow, or you can use a strip of, like we have the foam strips that are like dimensionals. Whoops, I put that on the wrong edge. Now I'm on a roll. There we go. I love to use my little tweezers from the Embossing Edition set here. So I'm going to add that to my leaf. So it's just really subtle and cute there. So now let me show you how I made this fun bow. So ribbon sometimes is wider than you want on a project. So let me show you what I sometimes do to use ribbon that I love on projects where it may not otherwise be narrow enough. So this is the beautiful natural and copper ribbon combo that has been on back order. Well, it's back in stock and it's absolutely gorgeous. So you can see how beautiful the copper looks with this paper and how earthy this beautiful natural ribbon works with this paper. But I'm going to show you a fun thing that I did with, I hope this piece is long enough. We'll try it. So if you take a piece of this ribbon and use some nice sharp paper snips, you can cut the rolled edge off the ribbon. So just take your rolled edge and cut up along the edge with your scissors. Now what you can do is you can fray it like this. So since this side is cut, I'm going to fray from this side. So you can take 2 or 3 and you just kind of tease them off like this. And they come off really easily, and I just lay them down. I'm going to create a little pile of these so that I can then tie them in a bow together. But then what you have left is this frayed piece of ribbon that is really pretty. So don't get rid of it, because I'm going to show you a card here at the end where I use this piece that's left over after I pulled these strands out. So pull these out. Okay, and I'm going to set my ribbon aside, and you set these in a pile. Now I scoop them up and I treat them like a piece of twine or ribbon, and I'm just going to tie a bow using these pieces. Just like that. Then you adjust your bow. You get all your little ends together here and adjust your bow how you want it. And isn't that beautiful? Look how beautiful that looks. And then you can trim your tails to whatever length you like. And I like to adhere that in place with a glue dot. So take a glue dot and you can fold it in half, or you can cut it in half, whatever you prefer. If you cut it in half, you can then fold it on itself. And now you have a little tiny glue dot that's just big enough for the knot of your bow. So you just put that there, squeeze it in place. So be careful not to bump your strands. This ribbon, I notice, is particularly sensitive to if you bump the strands. So I'm just going to slide those back out. There we go. And then you can put that down on your leaf. Isn't that pretty? What do you think? I love that. I just love the how it just gives such a neat look. And then you can trim your edges if you want a different length. I just trim them so they're kind of all a little bit of a different length. Okay. So they're not straight across. If you want them straight across, you can make them straight across. So they're all the same, but I like the uneven length, so I'm going to keep that. So there's the basis of our card. Thanks, Wendy. I'm glad you like that. I hope you try it. So many ribbons will fray really nicely for you like that if you cut the rolled edge off that keeps it all together. So, whoops, this one is a little, I missed that one. There we go. So now let's wrap this up by putting some embellishments on it. So I think that the tartan foil lends itself really nicely to these brushed metallic adhesive back dots that are in our annual catalog. So let's put some of those on our project. So I really like these copper toned ones that go with the copper tartan foil. So I'm just going to scatter some of those around on my project to get it how I want it. So let's put a couple here and then maybe one here. You don't need a lot, and then it's so pretty, but there's our project. What do you think? So here's one offset layers with the small check side, and here's one with set layers with the monochromatic side. So what do you think? Hi Debbie, welcome. Thanks for joining today. I've missed having you here. So same card, all I've done is adjusted which side of the designer series paper I have used, and I've offset the layers on one and have them layering together on the other. Okay. Yep, the replay will be here whenever you're ready. Thanks, Anne. I'm glad you like that. And can you see the beauty of the embossing in the background? So let me hold this up so that the camera picks it up well, because on the white it's hard to see. So you can see on the white it's debossed and real subtle. And on this side I chose to use the embossed side. It's not quite as subtle, but it's still monochromatic, so it just kind of blends in. But you build the details so that when your card is all together, it's just really pretty. Thanks, Wendy. I'm glad you like it. Thanks, Polly. I'm glad you like those. All right, so now let's move on to our next card. So the next card is actually, what I would like to show you is actually kind of a fun technique. I've got to figure out how this goes back on there later. I'll do that later. I don't want to lose a die. All right. So, are you ready to see what I have to show you? Look at this. Isn't that beautiful? So, I have created paper to use on projects. Oh, thanks, Anne. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. I'm glad you like those. So look at this. Is this not beautiful? I'm tilting it, hoping you can pick up the sheen. So I wanted to show you how to create something like this where you can really make it your own, pull in stamps, make whatever colors you want, and then you can now cut this apart and use it on your projects however you want. First, I'm going to show you how to make this. Then I'm going to show you a couple of project ideas using this. Now this is on regular cardstock. So I'm going to pull in another piece of Very Vanilla cardstock. So this is thick Very Vanilla. And the reason why I'm going to use thick is, well, I'll tell you once we create this. So let me show you how this is done. So I'm going to pull in a variety of ink colors to make this card. And let me get my stamps here and my dies out of my other bin. They kind of went away with the other bin. So you are welcome to pull any colors you would like, but here are the colors that I used. I pulled my favorite fall colors. So I pulled Berry Burst, Mossy Meadow, and Crushed Curry for the leaves. Now, Wild Wheat would also be beautiful for the gold. It would give you a little more subdued look. And if you want something more burgundy than Berry Burst, you could pull in Blackberry Bliss. And then I pulled an early espresso to stamp the stems on the leaves. All right. So I'm going to show you how I did this. And I may not make the whole sheet, but let's see. I'm going to open my ink here. And now remember, these leaves have that soft detail on them. So you want to make sure that your ink pads aren't so juicy. Actually, maybe I should put those here. You want to make sure that they're not so juicy that you don't pick up the detail on your leaves. I'm going to pull in a scrap paper to keep along the edge here so that I keep my workspace a little bit clean. All right, so let's do this for now. So let's start with the big leaves. So when I create something like this, where I'm having a lot of stamping in the background, I like to start with my biggest piece first. The reason being, it's easier to fit the small things around it than it is to start small and find spaces for your big images. You are welcome to do this however you would like, whatever resonates with you. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Hi, Janet. Thanks for joining. So I am not using this big leaf. I'm going to use the oak leaf as my biggest piece on here. So I'm just going to move some ink on my ink pad so that I get a really nice image, and you can now see where the ink is moved. Hopefully that picks up on the camera. And I like to use the edge of my blocks for this because it's round and not sharp and it won't damage the foam. So now I am just going to randomly stamp these oak leaves, and you could do it in whatever color you wanted. I chose to keep all of one leaf one color and all of the other style of leaf another color, but you can mix it up if you want. So I'm just going to stamp these wherever I feel like it. Like, there's just no right or wrong to this, which is what makes it really, really fun. And now you may need to come back and add in some color towards the end. You might find that you have little gaps, but that's the basis now of my paper. So now I'm going to go to my next largest image, which for me on this project is going to be this dual leaf. Now you could cut these apart. Yes, it's okay to cut your stamps. Just take your scissors and cut right up between them, and you'll just have singles if you want. I'll leave mine double for now. And I think I will stamp these in green, and I have Mossy Meadow. You could also use Lemon Lime Twist, Parakeet Party, Garden Green, whatever green you have, or whatever green you would like to pull into your color combination. So let's set that aside so I don't do something silly. And now I'm just going to go around and stamp these all over my paper. And I like to rotate my stamp so that it's in different orientations so that it doesn't look samey everywhere. And I'm just kind of protecting my work surface as I'm stamping off the edge of the paper in places. And I think that's good with that color. So now I'm going to come back in with some gold and stamp the same. There isn't a third leaf that's small, just the large leaf. So I'm doing this one twice. So let's come and fill in all the spaces now with whatever spaces are left. I'm just filling in with these leaves. Wherever I have openings, I'm just going to come in, fill this in. And I like to use my light color as the color that I use to fill in all my spaces so that it's not overwhelming. And when you're happy with what you have, you can stop. So I might want to come in here with green, because as I get my yellow on, I'm noticing that I really have a lot of yellow. It's getting kind of prominent. So to keep it balanced, I'll come back in and add some green here. And it's okay if it's next to each other, because once you get all the other layers here, it's going to be just fine. You will notice that, I want a little right here too. You will notice that nothing pops out as being too much once you get all your layers, because the key to this is just to continue to build interest, continue to add, continue to just keep popping in details. So now I'm going to take the vein stamps that are included for both of these leaves in the stamp set. So I have this veining that goes on the oak leaf, and then I have this that goes on these, I think those are aspen leaves. My tree people can maybe tell me. And I'm going to use the Early Espresso ink pad, and I'm going to come in and add all the little veins. And if they overlap, it's okay. I'm not going to worry if they touch, if they overlap. Now, if it's not the look you want, it's okay. You can make the adjustment. But for me, I just love the interest that this adds, the subtlety that the pop of dark color adds. And this is really fine. It's a fine detail stamp. So it brings in the dark color without being overwhelming. So I think I have all of my pink. So now I'm going to come in with the veining for the smaller leaves. And I'm just going to stamp all of these. And it doesn't take as long as you might think. It's really not bad. So have you ever done this before? Let me see if any of you have left comments. Oh, good. Wendy cut stamps. Yay! Don't be afraid. Just cut them. It's amazing how easily they go together. So once you cut your stamps, if you do have a time when you want them back together, when you mount them on your block, don't they go back together easy, Wendy? I find that you can just nestle them right back together, and it's really not hard to get them lined up. All right, so do you see how this is starting to take shape now? And you just keep going around adding all these details, and my favorites are about to come. My favorite layers are, we're just about to start them. I think this is the last one. I have two, right? Oh, one over here. So see how pretty that is? So even if you didn't do anything more, this is still pretty just now, just with this. So now you have a whole 8.5 by 11 piece of paper that you can work with, but we're not done yet. Oh, beech tree leaves. Oh, thank you. Yes, they could be that as well. I'm not good with recognizing flowers and leaves. All right. So now I'm going to bring in these two items. So I have a Blackberry Bliss Stampin' Right marker, and I'm going to cover up my nameplate here. You can see it's gotten a little extra ink on it. So now I'm going to take the brush tip and I'm going to use my cap, and I'm just going to kind of concentrate some flicks of color. And again, there's no right or wrong to this. This is just however you want it is the right way. Okay, so I've just added some flicks of color with my marker. You could do more than one if you wanted, but Blackberry Bliss is one of my favorite colors, and I really love it in fall. Then I'm going to add splatters of Wink of Stella, and then I'm going to set it aside to dry. So I'm going to squeeze a little bit of the paint down. I might get a big giant splotch, so I have a big goop here. Let me let some of that go in. I'm just going to simply shake my pen. I'm just like throwing it at the paper like a dart, but what's happening is splatters are flying onto my paper. So let's see if you can see the splatters. Can you see those? It's just landing on the paper. It's totally random. You can't control where it goes unless you want to cover parts of the paper. You can, but you get the idea. So I'm just throwing the Wink of Stella, and then you set this aside to dry, and this is what you wind up with. This beautiful paper. So now we have this to work with. So now let's make some cards. Now that we've done that. So we can use this in two ways. We can use it to create a layer, or we can use it for something else. So I have a few supplies here. Let's start with this one. I have a piece of Blackberry Bliss cardstock, and this is cut 4 1/4 by 11, and it's scored at 5 1/2, so it's a standard card base. And then I have die cut from, my favorite dies, the Scallop Contour dies. I've die cut the largest die out of Blackberry Bliss to create a tone-on-tone layer. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this sheet of paper. I know you're going to gasp, but I am going to cut it in half at 5 1/2 inches on the 11-inch side. So now I have two pieces. So this one I'm going to score at 4 1/4. And this thick Very Vanilla is now my card base. Look how absolutely beautiful that is for a card base. Okay, here's a card base. And now I have this piece that I can cut up to create layers on my project. And you could focus on just certain pieces, or you could pull whatever you wanted. So now I'm going to cut a piece that's just big enough to fit on the inside of this layer. So I'm going to cut a piece that is like 3 1/4 by 4 5/8. So let's cut that. So let's see this one. So 3 1/4 by 4 5/8. And I'm going to save this beautiful strip because that'll make a beautiful layer behind something. And I'm just going to adhere this in the center, and look at how that pops. Is that not gorgeous? So let's stick this down. And clearly you could make these cards very simple and let this beautiful paper just shine and be the star of the show. So now I'm going to put some dimensionals on the back of this and keep this very simple. Take these dimensional backs off. And I'm just going to center this on my card. Okay. Isn't that beautiful how it just pops? So now I have die cut this beautiful tag. right here from the Autumn Leaves dies. It's here somewhere. Where did it go? Here it is. So I have die cut this from Very Vanilla, and I'm going to stamp it with Berry Burst, but you could really stamp it with any of the colors here. And this sentiment is really pretty. It says, autumn teaches us that change can be beautiful. So I'm just going to stamp that. And I brought two, you get to help me pick. I brought two different twines here. I have the In Color jute, or I have linen thread. And what I'm going to do is nest it behind. I'm going to put some adhesive on here and nest it behind. Oh, I stamped that on the wrong side of the die. That's all right. Let's do this. Let's do the jute. Do you have a preference? Do you think I should do the jute, or should I do the linen thread to nest it? I kind of like this moody mauve. Goes really nice with, I can use this whole piece. So I'm going to untwist. Oh, Polly likes the idea of using this too. So I'm just going to untwist it. And as I untwist, I can just kind of slide this apart. Ooh, Wendy likes this too. Oh, good. So let's keep doing this. And I'm just going to separate these pieces. This piece is a little long. It's not wanting to separate easily. Usually it separates really nicely. Once you get it started, you can just kind of slide them apart like that. Okay, that's what I was going for. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around my fingers like this and just kind of make it messy and put it behind my layer so it kind of pops out. And then once I have this down, you can kind of adjust it on the adhesive so that you can get it showing however you want it to show. You can make it more irregular and not quite so uniform. That's kind of how I like it. And we can put that right like that. I like that. Beautiful. So let's put a couple of dimensionals on here. And you could tuck this anywhere you want. I'm going to kind of set it in a spot that doesn't have something I want to hide. Oops, it's crooked. And then last but not least, we can dress it up with some of these. And then I'm going to use the other piece to tie a bow. So this is the other half. Oh, actually, I might be able to double this and make a really pretty double bow. Let's do that. So there's my bow. So we can put that on with a little glue dot. And then these are the In Color enamel dots. They've been a hot commodity. So I'm just going to fold that glue dot in half. Put that there. And then I will use the Moody Mauve, but these would be pretty too. You could really choose whatever color you want and just kind of sprinkle these on the project however you would like them. And there's the card. What do you think? That paper just really shines, doesn't it? Now here is our card base. So if you have a card base, you could do something easy, like I did bring a couple punches here. You could punch out, this is the decorative circle, and I think I have a piece of vanilla here. This is kind of big, but this is the 2 3/8 inch circle. I grabbed the wrong one, so it's not going to work. Well, I guess it's not going to work. I meant to grab the 2-inch circle, so I'm not going to be able to do what I wanted, but we could always do this. Let's die cut this. So we'll just stamp our sentiment. I think I'll do this in the Mossy Meadow. So here's the I'm thankful. We'll just stamp that. I'm thankful. Oops. Let's actually stamp it, Mel. There we go. I'm thankful. And then let's do today and every day. So let's pull that one out. And we, whoops. I'm thankful today and every day. Let's die cut this. So that fits nicely in this nice die that cuts out the sentiments for you. So again, you don't have to be fancy when you have all this beautiful background to work with. And you get this really pretty detailing on the... So we can use some linen thread on this one. So let's just loop some linen thread. And we'll put a couple of dimensionals down. I lost my dimensionals. I just had a whole sheet of them. Here they are. They tried to run away. So we'll use a couple of these to hold this in place. I'm just going to put it at a little bit of an angle and just stick it down. And then we can put our sentiment down right on that. And then you can dress it up with whatever of your embellishments coordinates with how you want it to look. So we'll use a couple of the gold ones to get some pretty contrast. And there are 2 different ways to use that beautiful layer that you created on a simple card. So what do you think? Isn't it fun? You could make your own custom designer series paper by using your stamps. So that's everything for today. Thanks, Debbie. So here's our projects. We have the tartan foil and our own homemade. Thanks, Polly. I'm glad you like those. Yes, make some paper. challenge yourself, pull out a stamp set that maybe you haven't used enough and just start playing. Just start stamping and layering and stamping and layering until you love it. So this Autumn Leaves bundle is available out of the holiday catalog. And you can still get some fall crafting in. You're welcome, Anne. All right, everyone. Well, I've kept you. It's amazing how fast an hour goes by. I've kept you for an hour and I think a couple of minutes. So I appreciate you stopping by. It's always fun to spend Friday afternoon with you. I hope you try this and share with me what you made. I hope you have an awesome weekend. Now, next week, I'm not going to be live. I will be out of my office, but I'll have something fun to share with you. So check in at our normal scheduled time to see what I have for you. All right? Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend. Bye.